Welcome to our channel. Today, we're delving into the chilling tale of Emelia, a young woman haunted for years by demons and spirits. What started on a simple rainy night turned her life into a true nightmare. This is a true story of fear, struggle, and ultimately, strength. Get ready for an unforgettable journey in the Haunting of Emelia. Hi, Black Horror Stories. My name is Emelia, and today I want to tell you my story about how I was haunted for years by various demons. These demonic harassments left me physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted. I was 24 years old when I first encountered a demon that would significantly impact my daily life. It all began on a rainy night. I was sitting in my car outside a supermarket, waiting for a friend who was shopping. As the rain poured down relentlessly, I saw an elderly woman with an umbrella walking along the road in my rearview mirror. I wondered why such an old woman would be walking in the rain at that time of night, but assumed she was just on her way home and wanted to get there as soon as possible. I refocused on my phone when I suddenly heard a loud noise. It sounded like a hard crash, followed by the screech of a car coming to an abrupt halt. I looked up and saw the elderly woman I had noticed earlier, now lying on the ground. Without hesitation, I jumped out of my car and ran towards her to see if she needed help. As I ran, I saw a car across the road that had hit a fence and was totaled. I immediately realized that the woman had been hit by that car. When I reached the woman, it became clear to me that she was already dead. There she lay, a woman of maybe 70 or 75 years old, dead on the asphalt in the pouring rain. With my heart pounding with fear and sympathy, I began talking to her, even though I knew she was dead. I didn't know why I did it, but I apologized to her for what had happened and said it was time for her to rest and let her soul be at peace. A few days after the incident, I was sleeping when I experienced sleep paralysis, something I'd been dealing with for a few years. The sleep paralysis would happen as soon as I fell asleep, but it felt like I was awake. Every time I was paralyzed in my sleep, I fought and prayed, which resulted in me waking up, sweating as if I had been in a battle. I knew I was being haunted by a spirit, but the sleep paralysis happened so often that I got used to it and knew how to wake up from it, although I was tired of experiencing it. But that day, when I took a nap in the middle of the day, I was paralyzed in my sleep again while lying on my stomach. This made it difficult for me to breathe. Suddenly, I felt a presence in my room, followed by a finger with a long nail on my spine. Then I saw someone leaning over me, looking at my face. It all felt ominous and disturbing. The face I saw was that of the elderly woman who had been hit by a car a few days ago. The woman had her hair in 2 braids and was just staring at me. I, already struggling to breathe, telepathically told the woman that I was not there to harm her and wished her peace, asking her to leave me alone. I felt that this was a different kind of sleep paralysis because I felt the life draining out of my body as my pulse weakened and I was about to lose consciousness. I knew that if I stopped fighting to breathe, I would die. The police would consider my death as a natural one in my sleep. Yet I managed to pray to God to help me. Lord, please help me. I pray. I don't bother anyone and don't want to be bothered. Please help me, God. And just like that, immediately ran to the mirror in my living room and turned around to check my back. And there was a large bruise on my spine, exactly where I had felt the dead woman's nail. After seeing that, I became furious and started cursing at the invisible entities to leave me alone. But that wasn't all. The next day, when I rested my head, I felt, barely a minute after I fell asleep, the weight of a person sitting on my chest, choking me. Although I couldn't breathe, I started fighting and cursing again, asking God and the spirits of my ancestors to help me. This lasted for about 5 to 20 minutes before the demon finally let go of me. I woke up, prayed, and then went to sleep without any problems. The next morning, I had bruises all over my legs and scratches. These episodes of sleep paralysis and choking lasted for months, and the bruises kept coming. I became so mentally and emotionally tired that I developed dark circles around my eyes. I always woke up tired and sweating, as if I had been in a fight. Naturally, this made me weak, and I started seeing and hearing things that no one else saw or heard, which made me depressed and often left me crying alone at home. Another incident was when I was lying in bed and felt the sheet being pulled off me, followed by nightmares in which I dreamed of a car accident. When I walked to the crash site to see who was in the car, I saw myself sitting in the car, dead in my own pool of blood. Another night, I dreamed that I was having sex with a small man with curly hair, sharp teeth, and yellow demonic eyes. This lasted for a year before I finally decided to speak to someone about it. I went to a priest who told me that I was an empathetic and emotional person, likely attracting entities. Though I was devastated, I didn't understand why I was being attacked by so many demonic spirits. The priest told me that my encounter with the woman had attracted the entity, which had followed me home. Hence, why I was experiencing all these things. The priest performed some rituals on me, and afterward, I could sleep well without any disturbances or visits from unwanted guests. Now and then, I still experience sleep paralysis, but not to the extent that I can't breathe and wake up as if I had just been in a fight. As far as I know, I still see things that others can't, but they don't harm me. I feel their energy and keep them at bay. I even light incense sticks to keep evil and dark spirits out of my house. Lighting the incense sticks is something I was told by, I assume, an ancestor, because I started doing it out of nowhere. But my struggle with the demons was not over yet. Although I was now able to sleep and get my life back on track, I continued to feel the presence of the spirits. Sometimes, when I was alone at home, I would feel a cold shiver down my spine or hear whispers in the quietest moments of the night. But I had learned not to be afraid. I had learned that fear only made the entity stronger. Instead, I focused on strengthening my own spirit and soul. I began practicing meditation and yoga to calm my mind and strengthen my body. I surrounded myself with positive energy and began to believe in my own strength. I read books on spiritual protection and learned how to shield myself from negative influences. I made amulets and protective talismans that I wore around my house and on my body. One night, while meditating, I felt a powerful presence in my room. Instead of being scared, I remained calm and focused on my breathing. I felt an intense heat, and a bright light filled my mind. I opened my eyes and saw a figure of light standing before me. It was the spirit of an old woman, but this time, it felt different. The woman radiated peace and serenity. The The woman spoke with a soft, melodious voice. "Emelia, you have found your strength. You have learned to protect your mind and strengthen your soul. The demons can no longer hurt you. Use your knowledge and power to help others who are going through the same trials. You are a bringer of light, a protector of souls." With those words, the woman disappeared, and I felt a deep peace and tranquility that I had never felt before. I knew that I was no longer alone in my fight against the darkness. I had found a purpose in my life and was determined to use my knowledge and experiences to help others who were going through the same hell. I started a blog where I shared my stories and gave advice on spiritual protection. I met people who had similar experiences and helped them find their own strength. I became a source of light and hope for many. Although the spirits were still around me, I no longer felt fear. I knew that I had control over my own mind and soul. I had learned that true strength comes from within, and that no demon, no matter how strong, could overcome me if I believed in myself. And so, my story does not end in fear and despair, but in strength and hope. I had faced the darkness and emerged as a stronger and wiser person. I was a living testimony to the power of the human spirit and the unbreakable will to survive.